Say the word angel, and what vision springs to mind? A beautiful figure in white, shining robes with gilded wings? A being who offers kindness and mercy? The word has the power to conjure up images of beauty and goodness. We are surrounded by angels. Their images appear on postcards, birth announcements, and Christmas greetings. We see their likeness used for decorations, ornaments, dolls, and other toys. Who are these mysterious spirits who so intrigue us? Do angels simply belong to the world of folk religion, legend, and the supernatural? Or are they part of our present-day reality? Do we create angels from our own needs? Or are they sent to us because of our human frailties? Humankind has been fascinated with the idea of angels in the spirit world throughout history. We entrust our lives to our guardian angels and tremble at the coming of the angel of death. The warrior angel leads us into battle, while the images of archangels, the seraphim, and cherubim decorate our churches and hang on the walls of museums. The great religions have attempted to define and name them, while theologians and philosophers debated their nature and meaning. Artists throughout time have given us their visions of these winged creatures. Meanwhile, common folk and saints alike have told us stories of how they've known, seen, talked to, and been helped by angels.
I remember the first time that I became aware of an angel was when I was in first grade, and I was one of two people who was chosen to dress as an angel with the wings and the little halo and lead the second grade communion class down for their first communion in the Catholic Church. As I started down the aisle, the peace that I felt, and I felt like a little angel. And I thought there was something at that time, and when I recall that, it was very special about angels. Angels have really been very much a part of my life. I have daily said a prayer to angels since I was a little girl, and that prayer has not changed. It's the prayer it's angel of God, my guardian dear, to whom God's love commits me here. Ever this day be at my side, to light, to guard, to rule, and to guide. And as I matured in my spirituality, angels became even more important to me as I began to encounter them almost on a daily basis. I experience, even though I don't visually see them, I have a sense of the change in energy. And I notice through my mind's eye, up here through the right corner, the change in light and in dark. If I am trying to locate something, let's say I've had the experience in a grocery store and I'm in a hurry and I will go in and I don't want to take the time to ask a person, I will ask my angel to show me where the item is, and what my need at that time is just to be quiet. And then I get the response and I notice the difference in density between light and dark. And in my light and dark, I don't mean black or white, I just mean a change in the density of energy. And that energy hovers over the item that I'm looking for, and I just follow it, and there it is. And I've also experienced the light or the energy around, particularly my right side. And if I say, well, just move me there, I feel as though there's someone behind me, and it is an energy pushing, and if I follow it, and I'll allow it to push, and then when it stops, it's right when it stops, I know I'm there. I believe the angels are energy, and I believe that we are very limited in our five senses to see them, but I believe that they are here and take up space. Anytime I'm afraid, I call on St. Michael, the Archangel, for protection. I believe he comes with his bag and carries out fear and replaces it with comfort. When I have a problem and I have just so many thoughts have been going through my mind and I still don't have a solution, if I just am quiet and ask my angel, oftentimes I will have a solution, and it's completely different than anything I have ever considered. The answer sometimes comes in a picture or comes in a thought, but it's always a response to my request. And sometimes it seems the only thing I have to do is get out of the way. I believe that they've always been here, and I think that it's with the opening of our hearts that we are becoming more aware of the presence of angels here to help us. And I think that our lives have been so busy, and we have become a society and a people of meism and materialism, and I think that a lot of us are experiencing the discontentment and the emptiness around the search for meaning in material things, and that it has been a soul search and a spirituality in which people are opening up because they're looking for something more in their life. And I believe that the something more is simply the presence of God's love, which the angels are messengers in bringing.
Angels have piqued our curiosity, fired our imagination, and for those of us who have felt their presence, filled our hearts with love. We hear of people who have known angels, people who have felt or seen their presence and been aided by them, and some whose lives angels have irrevocably changed.
There was an amazing experience with a young Cambodian child here in the clinic. She had a big scar on her chest from recent heart surgery, and she was brought in by her mother, who spoke no English, and the mother had a baby. And the child was clearly very ill, but I couldn't figure out rationally what was wrong. Her heart sounded fine, the lungs were clear, but the child was clearly ill. And that particular time, I came into the room. A medical student had invited me in to help figure out what was going on. And I immediately tingled all over my whole body. And I understood that the situation was serious and that I didn't know what to do. And so I prayed to my inner angel, please help me. And I am not clear about what all was done. What occurred to me was to offer the child orange juice, which she drank happily and then vomited it on the floor. We got a chest x-ray, and when the child came back, the medical student came to get me and said, I don't think we're going to need to hospitalize this child after all. She seems fine. I came back to be with her in the room, and she was a playful 4-year-old who hugged me and was clearly delighted and giving me credit for having done something. Some sort of spiritual healing happened for that child, and it wasn't anything that I did other than call for help and put my hands on her and listen. This was a gift. I have been around spiritual beings where I have felt a strong tingling in my body and have known that way that there was spirit present. I have seen them with my eyes. It's something more dense about the air transparent, but a presence, something fully there. My job as a teacher of family practice residents means that I take call, and we supervise deliveries at a busy county hospital. The residents paged me to come to the delivery room because they were worried about a woman who was, the baby's heart tones decreased, and they were concerned that this might mean there was an emergency. And so I came into the room, and they were doing the things that needed doing. I moved to the back of the room to watch and to supervise from a distance. And I was aware that there was a presence, a spiritual, a spirit presence up near the head of the patient's bed. It was as if there was sort of a denseness about the area there. It was tall. The spirit was maybe 6.5 or 7 feet tall, and clearly a good energy, helpful, being there, maybe even as part of helping this baby stay safe. I began to wonder if the spirit was helping as much as whatever it is we were doing. I didn't try to communicate with the spirit. I was just pretty amazed at seeing it there at all. I looked back, and at that point the spirit was gone. So clearly whatever was left we could handle, or we didn't need the spirit around anymore. I think that the spirit allowed me to see her, and that she hoped that I would speak of it, teach of it, somehow understand more fully that we need to cooperate with spirit, that it's not just us and our machines in the delivery room trying to help people, that it's more than that. That prayer, that asking for spirit to help us is appropriate.
Angels have a rich and ancient history. The awareness of beings who inhabit both the world of the gods and the world of humans has always been with us. But the meaning and importance people have ascribed to them has transformed throughout the ages. There are those who think the idea of angels comes from our need to have an intermediary between ourselves and the great unknown.
We know that all recorded cultures have some aspect of a creature that travels between worlds, whether it's from this world to the underworld, the place of the shades, or from this world to the higher world and back again. And people have always had that function, the psychopomp image, the one who takes the souls, the one who brings us word from the heavens, that is alive and well in mythology today.
The Findhorn Foundation is a spiritual community in northern Scotland. It was founded on the guidance of a woman named Eileen Caddy. While I was at Findhorn, it was the anniversary of my sister's death date. And I hoped that I would have some connection with my sister. What happened for me was that as I was standing on the Findhorn Bay, kind of at dusk, listening to some wonderful celestial music and kind of being open to whatever, praying and enjoying this glorious sunset, suddenly there was an enormous spiritual presence in the sky. And this was huge, maybe 50 feet tall, an enormous, glorious presence. And it made me feel good. I also got scared because my Walkman glitched and I suddenly jumped and then the vision was gone. And instead, in the clouds was a face and as if arms reaching down. I understood that to have been the Findhorn angel.
Throughout history, angels have been distinguished from other spirits. We can speculate, along with Theodora Ward, the author of Men and Angels, that the idea of a spiritual being who travels between the world of spirit and the material world evolved from the polytheistic beliefs of the ancient Egyptians, Sumerians, Babylonians, and Persians. One belief was that the angels govern the movement of the moon, the sun, and the stars. Much of what we know about the ancient belief in angels we have learned from early artistic representations of spirits, mainly in the form of winged creatures. The Egyptian goddess Isis, protectress, virgin, and mother, was depicted as an angel with wings. To the Greeks, the images of sleep and death were also represented as angelic figures. Plato, in his writings, has indicated that both the gods and the souls of men are winged.
The function of the wing is to take what is heavy and raise it up into the region above, where the gods dwell. Of all things connected with the body, it has the greatest affinity with the divine. Plato.
And Socrates tells us that Eros is a spirit who carries messages back and forth between men and gods. Another angel-like figure from mythology is Hermes, the winged messenger. Nike, or Victory, with her great wings, served as a model for later depictions of angels, according to art scholar Peter Lamborn Wilson. We also find similar beliefs in supernatural beings in the vision of the shaman.
The shaman takes a bird form and travels in search of the soul of his patient. Primitive cultures generally thought that illness was caused by loss of soul of some kind. And there have always been people employed to go and find the soul, whether it's contemporary psychologists or ancient healers.
Angels in the Bible have appeared as messengers, guides, and healers. They also make up the celestial court.
And I beheld, and I heard the voice of many angels round about the throne, and the number of them was thousands of thousands. St. John the Evangelist. You shall see the angels circling around the throne, giving glory to their Lord. The Quran.
Muhammad said angels were sent by God to seek out those places where men and women are honoring the deity. The angels then report back to heaven what they have heard. Angels have been thought of as creations of a separate order from human beings and also as the spirits of highly evolved humans. Angel scholar Geddes McGregor tells us the English word angel is a transcription of the Greek word angelos. In Hebrew, angels are called malach, meaning messenger. Malach originally meant shadow side of God. The Hebrews thought of angels as emanations of Yahweh, part of the same divine spirit. In the Christian church, angels were not believed to be emanations of God, but spirits created by God at the time he created the material world.
In the Middle Ages, St. Augustine described the nature of an angel by relating it to an angel's purpose.
The angels are spirits, but it is not because they are spirits that they are angels. They become angels when they are sent, but the name angel refers to their office, not to their nature. You ask the name of this nature? It is spirit. You ask its office? It is that of angel. In as far as he exists, an angel is a spirit. In as far as he acts, he is an angel.
In my Catholic family, there was a story about angels and angel visitations. My Irish grandmother had told me this story from the time I was very little, that she had not been able to have babies for quite a long time and was very worried. So she went to the priest, and he told her that she should go home and paint angels on her ceiling. And she did. She hired a painter and painted a circle of angels on the ceiling above her bed, and she had a baby. And then she had another baby, and 3 girls, one of whom was my mother. So I grew up hearing this story, and by the time I was an adult, it was filed away pretty deeply, I think. But I experienced a long period of inability to have children, and I remembered the story then. And I found some pictures that had been painted by a relative on that side of the family, pictures of little cherubs. And I put them above my headboard, and I had a baby. And another, and another. So now I have 3 girls also. And we got nervous and we took the pictures down.
People think of angels in lots of different ways, with wings and harps and halos, or as the little cherubs we see in paintings. But I think angels can take any type of form. They can come in the form we think of them as, with the wings and the billowing robes, or they can come as an inspired thought, or a gut feeling, or a voice, or a feeling of intuition, or sometimes they're only apparent in their activities or their actions here on earth.
The first encounter with an angel that I was aware of happened in April of 1990. I was having severe back trouble. One Saturday morning, I tried to get out of bed and could hardly walk, and this incredible pain started. And I had a terrible bout of back spasms that radiated down my legs all day. Every minute or so, I'd get a wave of this pain. And I guess at that point, I was pretty wiped out and laying there, my eyes closed, not sleeping. There was no sleeping. When I felt a hand take my hand and hold it, I felt pressure on my hand. And I opened my eyes, expecting to see Jim, and no one was there. I couldn't see anyone, but I could feel this firm pressure in my hand, holding my hand. And so I looked out and said, "Thank you." And I'd say within a very short time, I fell asleep with this hand holding my hand. The pain hadn't gone away, but I did fall asleep, and when I woke up, it was gone. It was over. The spasms were over. But I knew that was an angel holding my hand, comforting me. Between that spring and the following spring of 1991, I had 4 other encounters with angels, but I didn't connect them or realize that that's what was happening at the time. The first encounter, I was up north at a cabin that my husband's family owned. When we got there, there was a fellow walking around on the property, all really soiled, dirty, icky clothes, you know, raggedy. He was very rough-looking and like a street person. As he came to us, he cracked this big smile, rotten teeth, and you know the missing teeth, and something was okay about all this. There was something lovely about this man. It was so beautiful, and I just felt this reverie. When we got home from this trip, we got this phone call from Jim's brother that Jim's mother had had a stroke. We kind of scrambled some things together for the baby and the kids and packed up some stuff. There was a grocery store near Edna's, and I thought, well, should we go to Edna's first? She was down. No, I gotta have stuff for the kids, so I can get there and take care of Edna. And so I'm in there charging around, grabbing some stuff. And I come around to the frozen food aisle, and I look down the aisle, and here's this grubby guy down there. Looks like a street guy. He's down there where that stuff is, and I've got to get that. And I thought, I don't need this. As I got close to this man, all that went away. All that worry and all that drive just vaporized. Late fall or winter, I had another grocery store encounter. We're shopping, and I see this old woman, looked like a bag lady, just wearing these ruddy clothes, and her hair was just gross and dirty, and she had this icky old hat on and this coat that was torn and just a mess. So I stopped the cart and kind of watching her out of the side of my eye, I went over to get my eggs, and as I did, she kind of quickly moved over to the cart where Robin was, my baby. Now, this should have alarmed me, and normally, something like that would. For some reason, it was okay. It felt okay. And she walked over and she touched him and she talked to him, just very briefly. And then she turned around, and without even looking at me or saying a word to me, she walked away and went around the corner. And so I got my cart and I rolled down to go look and see where she went, and I couldn't see her. She was gone. The fourth encounter then, and the last one in this series. As I'm walking, I can see this figure coming down the sidewalks. Extremely tall, thin, ragged person, long, stringy hair. I could see he had a full beard, long, full, dirty, messed up beard. And then, of course, as he gets, right there, I have to look up. Could not look up, and I looked up into his face, and he smiled at me. Big, toothless, dirty teeth smile. It was just lovely. It was just this sense of like this is a friend, this friend, a greeting, just a moment. And I smiled at him, and then we passed. And I turned around, and of course he was gone. Why were these people coming around? Now, the hand was there to comfort me, and was, I believe, a healing messenger that came. And you often hear of those sorts of things when people speak of encounters with angels. And I thought, but what about these homeless ones? What's that got to do with anything? I mean, they weren't doing anything for me. I wasn't in any kind of a desperate situation. And then this conference came up. It was called the First American Conference on Angels. The woman who was leading up this conference, she had called this conference because she felt a calling. She felt that people needed to know, in particular people in our country, in the United States, needed to know that the time had come where there was a time that had come where angels were going to be more apparent, and they were already more apparent because they needed us. That this time they needed our attention, our recognition, our love, and our energy for the work that they were doing. That through all these centuries of time, angels have been pouring forth love, protection, guidance, comfort, presence. Angels have been there doing God's work with this and struggling with us to wake us up and participate. But I don't think in any kind of warlike way, but only in a conscious sort of way to return some of that love and givingness and that openness and that awareness, and find a home for these homeless angels whose people don't recognize that they're there. And they are homeless. They have no place in the hearts of these people.
Do not neglect to show hospitality to strangers, for thereby some have entertained angels unawares. Hebrews 13:1.
We were having a family reunion in North Dakota, where most of my relatives live, and one family had a private plane, and they were flying in from Tennessee, I believe, and it was during the 4th of July, and they had fireworks in their airplane, and the fireworks exploded and their airplane crashed, and the entire family died. And during this family reunion, they were supposed to be having like 5-generation pictures taken, and the mother of the family, Eileen, was supposed to be in the picture, and they went ahead and took the pictures anyway. And in the place where she's supposed to be in the picture, there's a reflection of a light in the shape of an angel. And every time I see it, I get goosebumps, and every time I talk about it, I get goosebumps. And it's hanging up in my great-grandmother's house.
Does the whole family accept it as an angel?
Yeah, that's what, ever since I was little, that's what they told me it was. It looks like a cutout, like if you were to cut out an angel out of paper without detail, just like this shape, the blunt shape of an angel, that's what it looks like.
Angels in one form or another appear in the scriptures of the 3 great monotheistic religions of the world: Christianity, Judaism, and Islam.
God sends forth the angels as his messengers, with 2, 3, or 4 pairs of wings. The Quran.
These messengers of God were as important to these religions as the belief in God itself.
After this, I saw 4 angels standing on the 4 corners of the earth, holding back the 4 winds of the earth, that no wind might blow on earth or sea or against any tree. Revelation 7:1.
Angel apparitions are found throughout the Old Testament and also in the New Testament, though less often.
Origen, one of the earliest biblical scholars living at the time of the 1st century, recognized the notion of guardian angels and recognized in that notion the idea that we are tempted by evil spirits and guided by good spirits. St. Jerome told us that each of us is given a guardian angel at birth, and St. Thomas concurred with this belief.
Great is the dignity of souls, so great indeed that each of them has an angel assigned for its protection from the moment it is born. St. Jerome.
The Old Testament was not explicit on the question of a personal guardian angel, but there was a belief that some people were under their protection.
See, I am sending an angel before you to guard you on the way and bring you to the place I have prepared. Be attentive to him and heed his voice. Exodus 24:20.
The idea of a being who offers protection and guidance has always been within our consciousness.
For every soul, there is a guardian watching it. The Quran.
They come to do the work, and they are not there to collect the glory. All the glory goes to God, and so they come in just an instant, oftentimes, maybe as a person, maybe as an animal. Sometimes people have been known to encounter a dog that will come and help walk them through a dangerous area of a city, or something like that, where there's a instance of protection, and then they're gone. They turn around and it's gone. And one of the hallmarks of angels.
For he will give his angels charge of you to guard you in all your ways. On their hands they will bear you up, lest you dash your foot against a stone. Psalms 91:11.
You should honor the types of experiences you have with the angels, and you don't have to see them or hear them or deal with them in ways other people do. But there are many ways to experience angels, and each of them is as valid as the other. The most important thing is that it works for you in your life and that you recognize it. You don't have to see them or have an angel save you from a life and death crisis to have them active in your life. They're there for us now and always, whether we believe in them or not, they're there. And I think that's something that kind of opens up the whole area of angelic experience to a lot of people who might not otherwise think that angels are really working with them.
Hebrew concepts formed the background for the Christian beliefs concerning heaven and angels. Some scholars say that the earliest religious representation of an angel was found at Ur, the Sumerian capital of the Hebrews. A winged figure is shown descending from heaven to pour water from an overflowing jar into the cup held by a king. Others suggest the earliest angel depiction is one found in the Annunciation scene at the catacombs of Priscilla in Rome, which dates from the 2nd century AD. But archaeological remains of the earliest Christian church found in Syria that was built or remodeled in 233 AD shows no pictures of angels. A synagogue found in the same spot, however, shows robed figures attending Moses, but for the early Christian church, the time of the angels had not yet come. It wasn't until the reign of Constantine the Great from 306 to 337 AD that Christian art began to flourish, and we then began to see the characteristic appearance of angels.
I think that earlier artists, pre-Christian as well as earlier Christian artists, were translating their actual view of what they saw as an angelic figure. I think in later time what happened was those earlier inspired visions and translations in a human way of what the Spirit of God was to these people became a style. It wasn't so much that every artist that was experiencing a spiritual flow actually necessarily saw an angel, but the image was so true and so right and so strong that the wings, the concept of wings, and everything that it means in so many symbolic and real ways held over. I think the church then and various religions, in fact most religions, picked up on this angelic form, the winged figure, retranslated it in different ways, whether it was a woman with wings or a man in wings, but retranslated it in their own fashion. But each of them capturing a sense of the reality that's really there about those images. I think as time has gone on, church took a look at this, started utilizing philosophically and theologically what was really a visionary experience. It became more difficult for the day-to-day priest, interpreter, even scholar to figure out exactly what does this mean, this angel stuff. And in fact, the whole question of what does it mean is the wrong question. It doesn't mean, it is, and it relates, and it loves. Even in contemporary art, go to any bookstore or any card shop, and you're going to see once again those same vivid, colorful images, beautiful images of the angels with wings.
We decided on June 26th of '93 to go into business together. From that point on, whenever we needed anything, it was like we thought of it, and we said we need this, and it would appear. For example, we're having a mannequin done into a full-size angel, and that was my vision. I really wanted that for the front window. And we were talking about this and discussing it. Couldn't figure out how we were going to get it done. I didn't have time to do it. She didn't have time to do it. And we had gone out for dinner with some friends, and we went to the store, and all of a sudden I heard this voice, and here it was, an old friend of mine I hadn't seen in 3-4 years, and she just happened to be at that store because she was on vacation from school. And so we started to talk. She's still doing sewing. She's now creating our life-size angel for us. And we had no more than discussed that at dinner. A lot of times it seemed like there was no possibility of us being able to obtain money or to find the suppliers that we needed. And so we'd say, well, we pray about it, and then we'd say, well, angels, if you really want this store, you're going to have to provide it. And sure enough, within a day, a week, someone would have the information for us, or we'd know we'd have all the stuff that we need. When we came to this site, we had been looking around the city for different sites, and Cynthia decided to go for a ride. None of them felt right, and so we discussed different things, and she saw this particular spot, and she said, this is it. So I went and I looked at it. I said, okay, looks good to me. So we both sent our angels over here to hold it. And we found out later that they had turned down 2 more traditional businesses in favor of having an angel store. I don't know if they know what why exactly they come here, but a lot of time it's for comfort. We had one woman who was quite elderly. She probably was in her 70s. And she came in and she said that she had had an angel experience many years ago. And she had told her, but she never talked about it. And then she had told her doctor for some reason. He said, you have to start talking about it. So she came in here and told every one of us separately. And after that, she just felt great. I don't even know if she bought anything. I don't think she did. But it was just the fact that she came in and was able to share with us. Yesterday, I had a woman who came in and she said, I've had an angel experience. And I said, well, what exactly is it? She said, well, I'm going to tell you about it. I said, okay. She said, I had this dream. I was at a point in her life where she didn't know if she was going to go on or not. And she had a dream, and for 3 nights in a row, she dreamt about angels. And at that point, she decided she was going to continue with her life. The following day, there was a car accident, and this man was in a burning car. 40% of his body he ended up with 40% of his body being burnt. She ran into the burning car, pulled him out without sustaining one burn on her. And she has never dreamed of angels before. She had never dreamed of angels afterwards. But the 3 days before she rescued this man from the car, she dreamt about angels and was protected. And so now she feels very, very close to angels. A number of people have had experiences, and I don't know if it's because it's the end of the millennium or the end of the century or what is the end of the century, what exactly is happening. But I meet more and more people that have felt they've been touched. And maybe it's not angelic per se, maybe it's the hand of God, but I think that angels are the messengers of God. So if you're getting a message not to do something, or you're being held or helped or whatever, actually it is God, but sometimes, it just sends the angels along, because I think it's easier for people to identify sometimes with angels. They're like, I don't know how you visualize God. Everybody has a different idea. But an angel is more of, it might be a cherubic type, it might be with big wings, it might be huge, it might be beautiful, it might be some person that you're talking to on the street. But I think it's just a little bit easier for us to relate until we're able to accept the larger concept of God. Not that we don't accept it, but just that it's easier to, I guess, have an intermediary